Hey guys, it's me again, Eric here at Mountaintop 9, and tonight we're gonna do the top 5 horror films of 1983. I know you guys have been waiting a while for this one, and I love making these videos. It's a lot of fun doing these lists, and I'm not gonna waste any time doing a big fucking preamble. Let's get right into the list, shall we? My number 5 for 1983 is a little movie called Mausoleum. Now, I've got quite a bit to say about this one. One of the things that I really loved about Mausoleum was I loved the nude scenes from Bobby Brzee. I don't know if it's Bobby Brzee or Brzee. I can't remember how you pronounce her last name, but holy shit, dude. The scenes in this movie, the topless scenes. The whole thing about this movie is Bobby Brzee's character gets possessed, alright, by a demon. And after this demon possesses her, she likes to seduce men, okay? She'll go out on a balcony in front of the gardener and, you know, disrobe and show him her tits and then get him all riled up. And then after she fucks him, you know, she slaughters him with one of those damn hand rape things. I love that scene. That scene scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I gotta tell you. One of the things that always got to me as a kid were possession type stuff. Whenever someone would get possessed and their eyes would change and become that clear, cloudy color, or their eyes would turn red, or their heads would start spinning, you know, the voice would become gruff and demonic. All of that stuff really just flipped the switch in my head when I was a kid. And it still does to this day. It still retains that power for me. Anytime I watch a movie that pulls off possession type makeup effects really well. There's some really good scenes in this movie where Bobby's character, you know, where she really looks freaky, just really super demonic and creepy. This movie gets under your skin. I mean, it's kind of cheesy. There's a nice thick layer of cheese to Mausoleum. That cannot be in dispute. There just is. I won't deny that. But what this movie has going for it is just, there are some really good atmospheric graveyard scenes. I really love it when a movie, you know, shoots a cemetery scene really well and adds some nice atmosphere and some wind and rain and stuff like that. There's some good lighting and some key sequences in this movie, but most of all, those scenes with Bobby Brzee, where she is in all her glory, slaughtering these dudes one after another. You gotta love this movie. It's so much fun, alright? And that's why Mausoleum is my number 5 pick for 1983. Now, my number 4 is a movie called The House on Sorority Row. It's a beautifully shot film, beautifully constructed. You never lose interest in this movie. It keeps you engaged all the way through, and I like the mystery of it, okay? This is one of those movies where you're not quite sure who is doing the killing, alright, until towards the very end, and you start to unravel and get deeper into the mystery of the film. Anything with a clown mask or clown makeup adds an extra layer of creepiness, and this movie's got that, okay? And I don't want to spoil the ending to The House on Sorority Row if you've never seen it, but I'll tell you what, man, this is one of those movies, this is one of those early 80s slashers that just stands up really fucking well, and that's why I put The House on Sorority Row as my number 4. And I want to tell you something else about Sorority Row. There are 2 movies from 1983 that have a severed head in a goddamn toilet. Can you believe that? There's this one, House on Sorority Row, and then there's Curtains. 2 movies released the same year where you have a severed head showing up in a damn toilet. So that's pretty funny. Now, I'm going to talk about Curtains in just a bit, but I don't have glowing accolades to bestow upon it the way I do House on Sorority Row. House on Sorority Row is my number 4. My number 3 is a movie called Sleepaway Camp. Now, who hasn't seen Sleepaway Camp? Do I even need? Does this movie even need a grand introduction? This movie blew me away the first time I watched it, okay? I mean, you've got the ending. The ending scared the shit out of me, even when I was in fucking high school, right? I remember, this is before I got my driver's license, and I'd have to go out in the morning, alright, and walk past like tall bushes and shit and trees to get to my bus stop, and it'd be all dark and quiet. And I remember one time when I was in like, I don't know, 10th grade or something, I'd watched Sleepaway Camp the night before, and at the end, you know, you've got Angela standing there and she's making those growling sounds. What the hell is with the growling sounds? I mean, we know the whole twist to the movie, how it turns out, you know, that she was a boy and everything, alright? But why is she growling? Alright? Why does she sound like she's gonna transform into a goddamn werewolf? That's the thing I don't understand. We know that she's a psychotic murderer, but is she also a damn werewolf? Okay? Is she gonna turn into a Sasquatch and start eating people's heads? I don't know, but those growling sounds, the way they did the close-up on her, and just those gruff sounds emanating from her throat, for some reason, that really rubbed me the wrong way and gave me the damn creeps. And I remember after watching that movie, walking past those dark bushes in the morning before the sun would come up, and just thinking to myself, man, that'd be scary if Angela jumped out from behind this bush, you know, and was doing that growling sound. So this is a movie where you got the cool ending that just knocks your socks off. One of the best slasher twist endings of all time. I rank it up there with Black Christmas. Black Christmas would be my #1 slasher film ending of all time. But Sleepaway Camp, it's right up there, man. No fucking doubt. But the whole movie keeps you engaged from start to finish. You've got, you know, the other girls at the camp picking on Angela. I mean, these girls are real bitches to her. So it really makes you sympathize with the Angela character. And then I love Ricky. Ricky cusses every motherfucker out. You've got him calling people every damn name in the book. This kid's got a short fuse. I just love it when he's calling people pricks and everything. And you got some classic kills in here. You got people getting boiling water dumped on them. You've got bees stinging people to death. It's just good stuff. And then what the hell with that scene with the curling iron? I mean, I guess Angela sticks it, you know, in a very private place on that character there, but they don't show it. They just kind of show it in shadow, and you kind of get the idea. So it's kind of twisted. But yeah, man, Sleepaway Camp. And that song at the end, alright? Yeah, that You're Just What I've Been Looking For tune, you know, Angela's theme, whatever the hell it's called. Can't remember the exact title right now. But that song is a fucking classic. That keyboard, it is just so evocative. The melody to it, the lyrics, the singing. I mean, let's face it, the singing ain't that great, really. And the verses kind of come off a little bit cheesy, but at the same time, you get this cool kind of ghostly 80s, you know, atmosphere that just kind of makes the spirit kind of rise out of your body, and you kind of drift to another place, a very nostalgic place. This movie, Sleepaway Camp, very special film to me, so that's why I put Sleepaway Camp at #3. Now, my #2 pick for 1983 is Psycho 2. First of all, the performance by Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates in this movie. You just sympathize with this guy so much, you know? He's being released from the mental asylum, he's trying to go back home, and it seems like throughout the movie he's really struggling to just maintain his sanity. But of course, there are nefarious forces at work that are trying to fucking make him go back insane, alright? The funny thing about Psycho 2 is, you know, Norman isn't really the villain. You really feel for his character, and you want these people to just leave him alone. So you go through the whole movie, you know, watching what's gonna happen next and wondering if he can maintain control of himself. This movie has a couple cool kills at just the right spot. I love that scene where the butcher knife goes straight through that woman's mouth and you see it go through the back of her neck, the tip of the blade. That's like the best kill in the whole movie, and they save that till towards the end. So it really packs a wallop. And there's stuff in here that just really makes my stomach turn. One of the things that I'm really squeamish about, okay, and I'm not squeamish about much. I don't mind all of the stabbing scenes and all of this shit, but one thing I really don't like is when people get their hands cut, alright? I don't like it in movies like in this one here in Psycho 2. There's a scene towards the end where someone is brandishing a knife, right? And the woman puts the knife up to Norman, and Norman takes his hands and he wraps them around the butcher knife. So when she pulls the knife, she's slicing his hand open and blood's running out. Something about when hands get cut like that, when someone's pulling on a razor blade and the blood's, man, that makes me squeamish. So that's one thing that kind of even turns me, and I am pretty damn jaded. this movie has excellent camera angles. There are some really cool off-kilter angles where Norman will be walking up the steps towards his house on the hill and the camera's all askew and it just makes you feel uneasy. I love stuff like that where they take the time to compose effective atmospheric shots. And that's another thing about this movie. It's a universal picture. And one thing I've noticed in these universal movies is they'll have this atmosphere where it feels like it's in the real world, but at the same time, it feels like it's in a different world, okay? You feel like it's like the magic of movie making. Like if you watch Cape Fear, all right, the Martin Scorsese remake that came out in the early 90s, the one with Nick Nolte and Robert De Niro, you'll notice in that movie, it's also a Universal movie. And there are just scenes where it seems like the people are in real life, but at the same time, the backgrounds, the shots of the sky, they just look so atmospheric and kind of fake in a way, like another world. I love that kind of stuff. Well, this movie has that too. Psycho 2, all right? Has that in abundance. There are cool scenes where Norman and the girl that works at the diner, when they're walking outside and you see these outdoor shots of the diner, and if you look at the sky just looks so fucking cool and evocative, and it just takes you to another place in your mind. You just drift away. All your problems go away when you're watching a movie that's as well put together as Psycho 2. Just look at those shots of the sky and tell me that it's not magical. You know what I mean? I just love stuff like that. And I'll tell you what, towards the end there, right at the end, when that Bates Motel sign lights up and it says vacancy, that is just pure gold. So, I gotta tell you, from top to bottom, Psycho 2's got great acting, it's got some cool kills, excellent atmosphere, great camera work, and it's just a fun time. So, Psycho 2 is my number 2 pick for 1983. Alright guys, now it's time for my number 1 pick for 1983. And my number 1 is a movie called Videodrome. This movie is pure genius. It's got everything. You've got James Woods in the lead role. He's one of my favorite actors. He is great in every fucking movie I've ever watched him in. This guy has just delivered stellar performances. You've got great writing. I love the effects by Rick Baker in this movie. You've got people sticking their hands inside their stomach and then their hands fusing together around a gun. The whole plot line with these snuff film signals coming through, but really when people watch these snuff films, they get these tumors inside their head, and then the tumors make them hallucinate, alright? And they start to flip the fuck out. I love the subtext that's going on in this film about violence. So it's just very nefarious. There are a lot of layers to this movie. I've watched this movie many times over the years, and it never gets old. From the special effects, the writing, the acting, all of the fucking interesting subtext about violence and its effect on a viewer's mind. Very similar in a way to the movie Deadline, okay? I like the different kind of thoughts and feelings that movie puts across about violence and its effect on people. Both the people that, you know, write this kind of stuff and then the effect on the viewer, the people who watch that kind of stuff. It's just an interesting thing to contemplate, to think about, and Videodrome really delivers on that. So it's got some realistic, grounded in reality type ideas about that stuff, but it's also a fantasy film at the same time, alright? I love the way you weave in and out of the hallucinations. You never really know what's real. Is this really happening right now to the James Woods character, to Max Wren? Like, he'll see bodies laying in his bed next to him, you know, or the scenes where he's up against a TV putting his fucking head into it. You know, you never really know, okay, how much of this is a hallucination. Videodrome, in my opinion, it's just a fucking masterpiece. That's why I'm putting it at number 1. Just like how I said, you know, for 1980, The Shining, that's a fucking masterpiece. Videodrome, man, same way. It's a work of genius. It really is. I mean, I dare you, try to find significant flaws with Videodrome. I can't find them, man. This movie stands up today. It stands head and shoulders above the rest of its peers, in my opinion. And another thing I want to say about Videodrome is it just has that raw, electric 80s atmosphere, both in the visuals and just in the way it sounds. The score by Howard Shore is really good, and it just accentuates everything. It never overstates anything. I feel like it just accentuates each scene. So he does an excellent job with the score, and the movie overall, just the lighting and everything, even when you're just in Max Wren's apartment. It feels like, it reminds me of a Hitchhiker episode. You know that show from HBO, The Hitchhiker? That's another show that just has that electric 80s atmosphere and vibe. Videodrome has that atmosphere as well. I mean, yeah, I expect The Hitchhiker or fucking that Cinemax guy. What's that guy, Max Headroom? You expect one of these dudes to pop up at any moment because it's just so 80s in its essence. I mean, how can you go wrong with a movie where after a guy gets shot, he's lying on the damn ground and his head is just splitting right in half, and you've got all this blood spurting out and all these meaty chunks coming out of his torso? I mean, the effects in this damn movie. I mean, forget American Werewolf in London, alright? Forget that other Rick Baker stuff. This is where it's at right here. This is gory deliciousness right here. Videodrome is my number one for 1983. Alright guys, you know the deal. Now that we've done the top 5, now we're going to do some honorable mentions. We're going to talk about some movies that I may not like from this year, and other stuff like that. But first of all, I want to discuss 2 elephants in the room. And those are Mountaintop Motel Massacre and Blood Rage. These movies were both produced, alright, in 1983. And I love both of these movies. Both of these are 2 of my favorite films of all time. You know how I feel, for instance, about Mountaintop Motel. But the reason I am not putting Mountaintop Motel in the top 5 list is for a couple reasons. One, this movie was not released on a wide scale, alright, until 1986. So it's kind of hard to say whether it's a 1983 film or a 1986 film, because yeah, it was made and everything, and released and seen by some people in 83, but it wasn't, you know, released on a grand scale until 3 years later. So it's kind of hard, and I just don't know. How does Mountaintop Motel fit into the list with the other 5 movies I mentioned? It really doesn't. And I feel like it would be unfair. I love Mountaintop Motel. It's a very important film to me. But I feel like it would be unfair to put it in this list. I feel like it kind of stands out on its own fucking planet because it's such a unique film to me, has such a unique atmosphere, and has just changed my mind about horror and influenced me in such a profound way. I just don't feel like it's right to put in this list, alright? I don't even feel like when I get to 1986, I don't even feel like it really belongs there. Mountaintop Motel is on another plane, okay? So I've got some more work that I'm going to be doing about that film. I've got another video coming out about that movie. So I'll be discussing Mountaintop Motel much more in the future. Just know that the movie is immensely important to me, okay? But I just don't feel that it's fair to put in the list with these other 5 films. Now that we've addressed Mountaintop Motel, let's move over to Blood Rage, also known as Nightmare at Shadow Woods. This movie, of course, was made in 83 also, but it didn't come out, you know, like on Prism, VHS, and shit like that until later on, I think 1987. I wasn't sure whether to cover it here in 83 or in 87, but I'll tell you what, I did a review for Blood Rage, a standalone review, like a year ago or a year and a half ago, so you can always go back and watch that one. But also, I will be talking about Blood Rage when we get down the road, like when we get to 87 or whatever year Prism put it out on VHS. I will probably put it in that list. That's probably when I'll talk about Blood Rage, because it is one of the best slasher films ever made. I just wasn't sure if I should put it in this 1983 list or not. Now, let's move along to some honorable mentions for 1983. First up, we got The Deadly Spawn. I like science fiction type stuff when it's ladled with gore. I like it when you're wallowing in the wet, juicy red stuff, okay? I like it when guts and severed heads are flying all over the place. I like it when you've got aliens with razor-sharp teeth just ripping flesh apart. That's the kind of stuff I like, and Deadly Spawn dishes that shit out like nobody's business. So that's why Deadly Spawn is on this list. I like the low budget, you know, just imagination of this movie. You can tell that it was pulled off with a tremendously low budget. But holy shit, did they go above and beyond. Just delivering the movie-making magic. I love those outdoor shots. Like I told you earlier, even if something looks fake, even if something looks like it was created on a set or a matte painting or whatever, I love stuff like that because it makes you feel, I like stuff that transports me out of the real world and into a world of imagination. And I feel like the Deadly Spawn does that, okay? On so many levels, this movie's a lot of fun. It's just like something like Basket Case. It's something where you just feel so much heart, so much drive from the filmmakers to deliver a great, entertaining movie. Another film that I want to mention from 1983, and it's one that I'll do a full-scale review for at some point because it's just so damn good and it deserves more attention, is a movie called Mongrel. Now, this movie, it's just, I love the Texas atmosphere in this one. Have you ever noticed that when you watch these horror films that are shot and made in Texas? They just have this hot, sweltering atmosphere a lot of times, and I like that because in a horror film, you like that feeling of decay and of rot and of filth. So when you've got a nice, hot, sweaty atmosphere, I feel like it accentuates that. It really drives it home. And Mongrel is a movie, I like how it's mysterious all the way to the end. You don't know who's doing the killing, okay? And there's just a great, dark, ominous atmosphere to this movie. And I want to point out that a very talented man by the name of Robert Burns directed Mongrel. And Robert Burns is a guy that more people should know about. First of all, he was the production designer, art director on so many cool classic horror films. He worked on Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Hills Have Eyes, Tourist Trap. Those are three classics right there. He also worked on The Howling. He also acted in a movie that came out in the mid-'80s called Confessions of a Serial Killer, which is a super sick and sleazy film that, you know, takes influence. It takes inspiration from the real-life story of Henry Lee Lucas. Well, that movie, if you watch that, you know, everyone knows the movie Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Well, if you found that film disturbing, you should check out Confessions of a Serial Killer, all right? Robert Burns plays the lead sicko in that movie, and that's just a really twisted, warped film. I feel like it kind of leaves you with a grimy feeling after you watch it. But anyway, back to Mongrel. Robert Burns, like I just said, that's the whole reason I'm pointing out all this other shit that he worked on, because if you've seen, you know, how he elevates a movie just in the production department, just in the way it looks, okay? Well, that's who directed this movie, Mongrel, so you know. I mean, the movie's got a leg up right there, so that's why this movie, I feel like it's imbued with a nice, hot, grimy atmosphere. So definitely check out Mongrel, man. It's a standout movie in '83, in my opinion. Another movie that delivers a lot of fun is Microwave Massacre. Now this movie, it's really a black comedy, you know, it's just a really dark comedy. Kind of gives you the same type of feeling as if you were watching Neighbors or The Burbs, you know, something like that. Now neither of those movies go into a gory realm. But you know how both of those movies have this warped charm to them? Same as Nothing But Trouble, that movie with Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase. Well, Microwave Massacre, to me, belongs in the same pantheon as those films, just because it's just off the wall, it's darkly humorous, it's got that whole suburban thing turned askew. But in addition to that, you've got dismemberment, you've got severed heads, you've got cannibalism, and you've got some very choice nudity in this movie. Now, is the gore in this, is the violence in it sickening and off-putting? No, it's not. It's done in a very tongue-in-cheek way. It's done in a way that doesn't really make you flinch. This movie isn't gonna make you lose your lunch. You're not gonna go vomit in your goddamn toilet after seeing someone get killed in this movie, okay? Because it's just done in a very cartoony fashion. Oh, another movie I want to mention that belongs in the same kind of, you know, pantheon is Parents. You know that movie where the kid thinks his parents are cannibals? Well, that's similar to Microwave Massacre as well. So if you like those types of movies, if you like Neighbors, The Burbs, Nothing But Trouble, Parents, Microwave Massacre, I would throw in the same goddamn bucket as those movies. And what about that damn microwave? The funny thing about Microwave Massacre is you expect to see lots of scenes where you see body parts getting stuffed in the microwave and then it gets set to a certain time and you imagine that you're gonna watch the body parts, you know, popping and roasting and splattering inside the microwave. You don't really get anything like that in this movie. Like I said, everything's done very cartoony. All of the effects look really fake and stiff. So it doesn't deliver in the sense, you're not gonna see blood splattering all over the inside of a microwave and huge chunks of gory goodness dripping out onto the kitchen floor. You do get some blood and whatnot. I'm just saying, Microwave Massacre, it does conjure up an image in your mind of some over-the-top, ultra-violent shit going down in the kitchen. If I had made this movie, I would have made the scenes of violence, I would have made them much more vicious, dude. I really would have went overboard with that shit, because it's called Microwave Massacre. I would have had heads exploding inside the fucking microwave, you know what I mean? But that's just me. Microwave Massacre is still a lot of fun, and I just love how the microwave in this movie, I need to not forget, the microwave in this movie, it looks like it's something out of the damn Jetsons or something. I mean, look at that fucking thing. Looks like it came from outer space. What is that thing? Are they taking it on a space shuttle or something? I've never seen a fucking microwave that looks like that. I'm gonna mention a couple more slashers that I think are very worthy indeed. One I even did a full-length review for, and that one is Mortuary. Mortuary is good. Excellent little slasher film. You've got Bill Paxton, who I always loved. It's very sad that the man is gone now, but he puts in a good performance in this movie as a lonely, awkward kind of guy. You've got Christopher George in here. I love anything that guy shows up in. And so you've got some really good acting. I like the makeup in this movie when you do see the murderer. He's got his face is like painted white, and he's wearing like a black hood, and he's going around and he's killing the victims with a trocar. You know, he's just stuffing that thing right in them, and the blood's running out the tubing on the other side. So you've got some really vicious kills in this movie, and just some really good atmosphere, some really good dark atmosphere in this one. So Mortuary is definitely on this list. Another movie that I have to mention that I still think is pretty good to this day. I used to love it a lot more. It's kind of sank a little bit in my estimation, but I still want to mention it, is Sweet 16. It's just a fun, charming little slasher movie. Is it anything great? No. Not really, but I still feel like I should mention it. There's just something about Sweet 16 that I feel like I need to revisit every once in a while. Now I want to get to a movie that I feel hasn't aged that well, and that movie is Curtains. Now, I used to put Curtains in the same league as The House on Sorority Row. I used to think that Curtains was, you know, kind of an above-average slasher film. But I gotta tell you, man, I went back and rewatched Curtains again. I've watched it a few times over the years. And when I rewatched it here just recently, man, I just don't feel it. I really don't. For one thing, I just feel like it's just too slow. It's just too boring in spots. It takes a long time to get to the goods. Everyone loves that goddamn scene where the killer is ice skating towards the next victim. Everyone loves that because it's just so strange and out of place. You know, a lot of murder sequences in a horror film are done, you know, at nighttime or in a dark room or someplace where things are, you know, much more dimly lit. But in this scene, you have the stark contrast of the villain skating right towards the victim, but it's in broad fucking daylight. And the villain is wearing this super creepy mask. It's this old hag with this ugly, really fear-inducing face. It's just really disgusting, and the hair coming down. So that mask is very grim. It just strikes a very, you know, imposing impression upon you. So the mask is excellent. But you also think at the same time the other half of your brain's going, yeah, but the killer is ice skating towards the fucking victim. So that kind of makes it funny at the same time. It's kind of an odd juxtaposition in your mind, all right? Yeah, the killer's got a super creepy mask, carrying a sickle, coming straight towards the victim, but the killer is fucking ice skating. So it kind of makes you laugh at the same time. So that's kind of the funny thing about Curtains. I just really have mixed feelings about this movie. Visually, pacing-wise, I feel like it's a slow movie. It doesn't engage me the whole way through like a movie like The House on Sorority Row or Mortuary. You know, shit like that. Like those couple slashers, for instance, they keep you engaged all the way through. And Mongrel, same way. Sleepaway Camp. You watch those, you're fucking riveted, right? Those movies don't lose you at any point. You stay with those fucking films all the way, start to finish. Curtains, it loses me, man. You kind of your interest wanes during scenes of this movie. It really does, and that's too bad because it has a few good elements. That mask is cool. The mask is cool. The idea of the victims all assembling in this mansion in an isolated setting, that's a good idea. That's a classic slasher cliche right there. But overall, Curtains, man, I just feel like it's overrated. I feel like a lot of slasher fans give too many glowing accolades to Curtains. It's just, to me, it has not aged well. And that's too bad because, like I said, there are a couple cool things about it. But overall, just hasn't aged that well. I gotta mention Lamberto Bava's A Blade in the Dark. Man, this movie could have been really good. First of all, visually, it's a beautiful film. The colors, the composition, everything about it. I like the plot line. I like the idea of this composer. He's a film composer and he's going to this isolated house there and he's working on a score for a horror film, and at the same time murders start to happen. And there are some really cool violent deaths in this film that really pack a punch. But the problem is, once we get past those few, you know, nice positive things I said about the film, the most glaring fault of this film is it's just too goddamn boring. A Blade in the Dark is boring as fuck, and there's just no getting around it. Now, guys, I'm not the kind of person that needs explosions in a film. I don't need people fucking jumping out of helicopters and fucking throwing hand grenades and pyrotechnics and roller coasters going over the goddamn moon, alright? And the dish that ran away with the spoon and all that bullshit. I don't need, you know, hyper fast editing. I'm not that kind of person. You know me from my reviews. So it's not that. It's not that I'm like this, you know, popcorn movie watcher who just needs bam, bam, fast-paced entertainment. I'm not like that. I love atmosphere. I love a deliberate pace when it suits the movie, when you feel like things are flowing naturally and you're getting some good doses of entertainment or good feeling is being transposed upon you, the viewer. A Blade in the Dark fails in that regard. Well, guys, that's about all I have to say about 1983. And you know what? Did I mention every damn movie made in 1983? No, I did not. But that's part of the fun, guys. This was my list. You know, I have the top 5, and then I've got some honorable mentions. Now what I want you guys to do is in the comments section, let me know what your favorites are. Let me know your top 5. Give me some of your honorable mentions. Point out some movies maybe that you feel like I should have mentioned that I didn't. That's part of the fun. That's why I don't want to say every damn movie from 83. I want to see what you guys, you know, think. You know, there may be some movies that you really feel strongly about that I didn't mention, and that's part of the fun. So yeah, guys, I hope you liked my list for 1983, and guess what? I'll be doing a list for 1984 sometime in the future. You bet your ass I will. We're gonna work our way all through the fucking 80s, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really appreciate you watching, and guess what? I'll be seeing you again real soon.